Eagles. So I got to ask you, a couple years ago, you had that experience. In your opinion, is it time to bench Carson Wentz?
Well, I got to start my day off like I do, like I was raised. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. You come over here to gloat. You come over here to gloat. I already know.
No. Hold on. So, about a year ago, I came on here, and I was called a hater. I was bitter. I was upset.
You were.
But I was truthful. You know what they say? They will forgive you for telling a lie, but they will hate you for the truth. But let's go back on topic. So, Wentz, I did a lot of research last night, and he's been awful. But the facts of it is, I'm going to give you from a business perspective first. He's guaranteed $25.4 million next year in the form of $15.4 million in salary, $10 million in a guaranteed roster bonus. From a business perspective, we can bench him. We can. He's been awful. He has 95 off-target completions, most in the NFL. He leads the NFL in sacks. He's been sacked 46 times. He leads the NFL in interceptions. He's thrown 15 interceptions, if my notes are right. Okay. Now, you can bench Wentz, fire Dougie P, but you still got the same little weasel snake picking the players. He's been god-awful. You say Wentz doesn't have any help. Well, how is he supposed to have help if we draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over D.K. Metcalf?
True.
Then we go in the offseason and we say Wentz still doesn't have any help. And then we draft Jalen Reagor, a guy who was a punt returner. He was basically known for being a punt returner at TCU over
Jefferson.
What is his name? I'm sorry. Jefferson. I'm sorry, Jefferson. You're a hell of a player. I'm sorry. And I just think it's time to blow the whole thing up. Blow it all up. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Give him his Super Bowl ring. Give him all his little pats on the back and call him a nice Uber XL and get him on out of there.
And by the way, let's go ahead and name the GM he refers to. It's Howie Roseman. Just for the
little weasel.
The little weasel. All right, go ahead.
So let me ask you a question. Back to the original topic. Should they bench walk it to him?
You could bench walk it to him, but it's not all walk it to him fault. Besides, he holds on to the ball too long, and he takes too many risks, and he obviously sees things that are not there by that last interception that he threw. But you got to look at the guy, the team that's been assembled. Look at the team that Howie has put into place. It's awful. It is awful. It baffles me how Coach Reed gets fired from there, who was a great coach, Hall of Fame coach, how he gets demoted when Chip comes in, and somehow he weasels his way back to the top, and he's the GM again. And now, he did well. He assembled some pieces. They won a Super Bowl, but, that's in the past. You told me when you get in the position of paying people for what they did 4 or 5 years ago, you're in bad shape, right?
Yeah, basically. I don't believe they should bench him, but there's enough blame to go around. Wentz has taken so many hits is that he's predetermining where he's going to throw the football because he knows those hits are coming. I watched their receivers last night. Oh, they can't get open. They can't get open. It's as simple as that.
J.J. Arcega-Whiteside does not even dress. DK Metcalf is tearing the league up.
Right. So they passed on guys like Metcalf. You passed on Jefferson to take Jalen Reagor. And your offensive line has gotten old and debilitated. And so now you put all that together. You got a quarterback that's, even when he has a clean pocket, Skip, he's not the most accurate. And I'm being nice. Okay, he's a very inaccurate quarterback with a strong arm. That's not something to be proud of. It's kind of like having the most air distance yards. I thought the job of the quarterback was to complete the pass. So when you look at his inaccuracy, you look at their offensive line inability to protect him. You look at Dougie P. refusal to run the football. When you combine all that together, you got a mess. You got a mess on your hand.
What people don't realize about Carson Wentz is that he's way more comfortable throwing to bigger bodies. That's why he throws to tight ends, because he's inaccurate. He's way more... Skip, hold on one second. I got to acknowledge my man, Skip. He is loving this. Skip is loving this, Skip. Me and you, we're happy that we're not committing over $30 million to a guy that throws to tight ends.
And one more thing, before I turn over to Skip. Okay. Skip, there were some situations last night. You can't have 30-yard pass interference. You got to put that ball on Goddard, and that's a touchdown. You had another one earlier, had Bobby Wagner beat early, and you underthrew it, and you allowed him to get back into play. It's plays like that. So when it's clean, you got to make them pay for making mistakes and leaving linebackers on your tight end that far down the field. and Wentz did not make them play. But when you get sacked 11 more times already than the next closest competitor, you're on pace to have the third most sacks in NFL history. We saw what it did to David Carr. It ruined him. He was never the same after his rookie year, Skip. And I'm afraid he's taken so many sacks, we might not ever see the best of what we thought Carson Wentz would be, which was his second year. You can't keep taking these shots and be strong. It's not going to happen.
Before I turn it over to my lovely elder Cowboys fan, Skip, I'm just going to say one thing. I came on here and I called it. And, you know, I was taught at a very young age, it doesn't catch up to you until it catches up to you. And now it's caught up to him. Go ahead, Mr. Skip Bayless.
So, to your point, as a Cowboy fan, I am loving this. I'm loving listening to this man try to defend a quarterback who is now indefensible.
I didn't defend him, though.
This time you didn't. To start the show, you tried. and you tried valiantly to try to save what's left of Carson Wentz. And my point here is, I hope they don't bench Wentz because I am the biggest Jalen Hurts fan. And I fear that Jalen Hurts, if inserted into the starting lineup, even where do they go on the road? They have to go to Green Bay. Okay, so that's hard, right? Against the guy you say should be the GOAT, or he plays better than the GOAT. Jalen Hurts has intangibles, leadership intangibles, playmaking intangibles, even accuracy intangibles that Carson Wentz does not have. I've never been a fan. I've been consistent in this opinion since 2016. Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz. He had his moment. He had his run with a loaded, hot football team in 2017, got all the way out here to Southern California to the Coliseum against the Rams, and he wrecked his knee. Sorry to hear that. Hate it for him. But what happened? A guy that Shannon has no respect for, Nick Foles, just stepped right in and took over, and off they went and won the Super Bowl. That's how talented that Howie Roseman team was. You got to give Howie credit for that team.
Yes.
I told you, even the trash can get a steak one time.
Okay, all right.
It's going to get a steak when your stomach is hurt.
He did that. Now,
he did
it scares me that they will go to Jalen Hurts because Carson wasn't born with that leadership gene. Somehow this team doesn't respond well to him. They try to muster it up. They try to say all the right things. But there was that big expose in the Philly Voice 2 off seasons ago in which nobody liked how he was responding to criticism, how he's handling himself.
How he carried himself in the locker room.
Correct. So the point is, he's a big, strapping young man, and what he does best right now, he just takes off and runs with it. And he will run with big courage because he'll try to run through your brick wall. But as a passer, he's lost his way. His touch, his poise, his feel, his rhythm, he's just completely out of whack. And to Orlando's points, he's just running away with all the negative categories in the NFL, starting with sacks, going to interceptions, fumbles lost. He's a mess. And they're a mess right now, and maybe they will clean house. Maybe it's about to cost Doug Peterson his job, but again, they got one saving grace to me, and that is Jalen Hurts. And albeit all I got is somebody who worked at Alabama, and he lost his job to Tua, but then he came back in and saved them in the fourth quarter of the Georgia SEC championship game. And then at Oklahoma last year, he carried a miserable defense all the way to the college football playoffs, and they got obviously blown out by LSU. But that's Jalen Hurts, and that's what he would do for this team. And why they had some cockamamie plan last night to try to alternate them, I don't know what it was happening. I don't know what they were doing. If, in fact, he split snaps with Carson Wentz last week 50-50, that's pathetic because that's unfair to Carson Wentz.
You know what it seems like to me, Skip? It seems like the reason why he didn't give Jalen Hurts more is that it got leaked that it was happening.
Maybe.
And so now all of a sudden, that ain't what we do. We just doing our normal things. And so to save face, because it got out.
Yep. But there are also reports that ownership, up to Mr. Lurie, told Doug Peterson, if you want to bench him, bench him.
Right.
But to Orlando's final point. Yeah, go ahead.
Not the case. The case is Carson Wentz is guaranteed to be on that team next year. And is nobody going to write out checks for $1.5 million per week to see somebody hold a clipboard? So the only solution in this is you have Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts may be the answer. Clean house, get a new staff in, and let's see what Carson can do with a new staff before you just turn him off and before you just throw him away in the trash. He was the number 2 pick in the draft for a reason.
Yeah.
put somebody around him that's going to put him in situations that he's going to be successful. He's
Okay,
lost
but
all
think about
talent,
this. Think about
all faith.
what do you know? What do we know about Carson Wentz at the highest level? Well, he played one playoff game against Seattle,
Right.
and he lasted like a minute, and he got hurt again.
Right.
And he threw 4 passes and completed 1 for 4 yards. I think 3 passes, 1 for 3 for 4 yards.
I believe
so
it. But
you don't even know how he's going to play in a real big game.
Well,
it's really hard. It's really hard to find.